Hi guys, you're watching eZeLiving.com. I'm Alex and I'm here with Andy, and today we're going to be discussing how to handle a first date.
Now, every first date is obviously very dangerous territory for a lot of people. It's the first impression, and these days, everybody, first impressions are so important. So we're going to give you a few tips here. How to act on your first date. We're going to talk about chivalry. Is chivalry dead? We'll see. What do you think, first off?
So I would say chivalry definitely not dead. If I'm going out with a guy for the first time, he's got to impress me to make a good impression. He's got to treat me well, he's got to be polite, he's got to be quite in charge and control of the situation and know exactly what he wants.
Myself personally, I'm still a fan of, being a gentleman. So, especially in the US where I grew up, chivalry really is kind of dying out. You rarely see guys opening the doors for girls anymore, pulling the chair out, for them and then helping them sit down and stuff. So I really like to see chivalry. I really like to hear that it's still alive. It's a good thing. Well,
of course. I would never complain about a guy pulling a chair out or opening a door for me. I think I would be a bit upset if he didn't, to be fair. I think it's a shame that it's not around so much anymore.
Okay, things not to talk about on a date. What's your biggest pet peeve?
I think the main thing not to talk about on the first date would be, well, anything negative to begin with. You want the first date to be an enjoyable experience and for you yourself to make a good impression and not leave any negative thoughts in the guy's mind. So anything from talk about your ex to any problems in your life that you don't need to share, then keep it to yourself and talk about anything positive. You want to leave a happy vibe and a happy feeling throughout the date.
Me personally, I think conversation should be split up equally, definitely. The last thing I ever want to see on a date is a girl who just keeps talking about herself. All right, so balance the conversation, keep each other, both interested, and change the subject every once in a while. That's always a good thing. You never want to keep the same subject for more than a couple minutes. Obviously, sometimes when you do, when you are very desperate, you talk about the menu. I've always been on those dates where people just keep talking about items on the menu. I'm like, great, you can read the menu, but let's talk about something else. That's obviously a big pet peeve for me. What do you like to see on a date?
I like to see the guy being interested in my life. If you ask lots of questions, again, same goes for the girl. Ask lots of questions about each other. You're there to find out about each other, so don't just sit there and talk about yourself. Always try and find out and look interested. Even if it's really not that interesting, always act interested at least. The guy will be more likely to want to talk to you if you sit there and actually listen to what he's saying rather than looking around, waiting for your food to come. You want to look like you're having a really good time.
Okay, so obviously everybody knows, the 5 seconds of awkward silence. The biggest scare for, I think, anybody on a first date is the awkward silence. So, okay, if there is an awkward silence on a date, what's the best way to break it? Me personally, sometimes I'll just be like, hey, that was awkward, which makes things even more awkward. But what would you do? If you had this 5 seconds of awkwardness, how would you break the silence?
I wouldn't acknowledge the awkward moment by saying awkward. I think that can make things a lot worse and can make the other person feel a little more uncomfortable as well, because they might not have thought it was awkward. They might just be having a comfortable break from talking. So apart from ordering another bottle of wine, just quickly think of another subject to talk about. It could be anything, just pick it out of nowhere. Where do you live? Where do you grow up? What are your hobbies? Anything that you can be genuinely interested about as well, and you never know, you might actually learn something about the person that could actually interest you.
Okay, and while you're talking, eye contact, I feel, for me is very important. For guys especially, don't let your eyes wander. Always look into her eyes when you're talking to her. So you obviously like to see that, right? You don't want to see the guy looking around the restaurant.
No, you don't want to see the guy checking out the waitress or checking out other people on the table. Same goes to the girl, looking at the waiter. It's never a good thing. You want to be the center of attention for the person that you're talking to.
And when the meal is wrapping up, guys, grab the check, all right? Don't bring the arms in, go out and grab the check and pay for her meal, all right? Chivalry is not dead.
Couldn't agree more with that. Well, I hope these tips have been very helpful and that will be put to good use, and good luck on any first dates that you may be having. I'm Alex and this is Andy, and you've been watching eZeLiving.com.